Hi everyone, we are live. Just give it a couple of minutes just to let everyone get on. Okay everyone. Hi there. So my name's Louise, for those that don't know me. We're going to be doing a class tonight and it'll be an Iyengar Inspired Yoga session. And it can be level 1, level 2 and there's a bit of level 3 in there as well. So get what you need. Hopefully you've got everything handy. So you'll need to have your mat, you want blocks, as many blocks as you've got, and your yoga belt as well. Okay, so let's make a start. So if you want to start just by sitting yourself down just onto your blocks. So we're going to sit, just have one heel just in front of the other one. So this is into Sukhasana. Oh, Sukhasana is actually kind of Sitasana. Right then, so we're just going to roll the shoulders back. That's it. Now just take this time now, just closing the eyes. Take a few breaths and just see how you feel. Notice your breathing. And when you feel that the breath is twinned with the body, then bring in the palms together. And just dipping the chin down. Just take this time now just to set your intention for your practice. So think about what it is, what's brought you to your mat. And make that the forefront of your practice. Just to be accepting of just your body as it is right now. And the amazing work that it will do for you in the session. And to also be respectful of your body. So not allowing the ego to take over. And then bring the thumbs up just to the space between the eyes. And then taking the hands up over the crown. Draw the hands back down again towards the heart center. And releasing the hands down to the legs. Just roll the shoulders. Again, sat tall, and feel the length through the front, back and sides of the body. Notice as you stretch, you can feel the body still move as you breathe. So you don't want to be too rigid where you're not feeling anything. So on your next exhalation, exhale with the mouth open, sigh the breath out. And then normal breathing. Okay, just roll over the legs, and we're coming over first of all into Balasana, into child's pose. So big toes are together, take the knees out just slightly wider than the hips. Take the hands, slide them forward, and just kind of rock over gently from side to side to allow the body just to settle that bit further down. Now once we get the forehead down to the floor, bring your wrists lifted, so we just have the fingertips just pressing down. Arms are straight. Now making sure that when we're pressing down and we're rolling out across from shoulder to shoulder, so we're keeping the serratus anterior muscle kind of pulling in, just widen out across the shoulders. So the head is down. Okay, from here, hands go flat. Bring yourself up so you're into Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Bring the knees in a little bit closer together, tuck the toes. Sit the bottom back towards the heels. Get a big stretch out just onto every single toe. Have a quick glance around. Make sure every toe is involved with that. The whole time pushing back through the hands, so really lifting back away from the wrists. Draw back through your belly, keeping that solar plexus area. Feel as if it's drawing back. So we're not splaying forward with the rib cage. And then just allow the body to come forward slightly and then straighten out through the legs, coming up into Ardha Mukha Svanasana. So again, make sure nice and broad from shoulder to shoulder. Come right up onto the toes. Lift those sitting bones right up towards the ceiling. Pulling up strongly on the legs. So look at your kneecaps. Work to lift those kneecaps up. Pulling right up in the quadricep muscles, right up to the top of the leg. And then as you work those heels back, feel the stretch coming right from underneath your bum cheeks, right down towards the heels. Hands are just pushing away, nice and strong in the arms, feeling that stretch in the armpit skin. Squeeze back through your belly, draw your rib cage back. Feel the shoulder blades moving towards the waist. Okay, we're going to start to come up onto the toes, walk the feet forward, so we're coming up towards the hands. Feet are going to go out about, not quite the width of your mat, they're going to be on the inside edge of that mat, so parallel to that. So we're hanging forward, forward bend, Uttanasana. We're going to grab hold of the creases of the elbows, we're drawing down. Now when we draw down, keep the legs as straight as we can. Obviously if you need to bend them a little bit, then bend them. When you're pulling down with the arms, make sure that the arms, so try and get the forearm bit. So if I come up to standing and show you, the forearm bit wants to be above your head when you're laying forward. So Stuart, that's something for you to aim for. You need to really work to kind of pull up, to lift up. This is what's going to massively help in your headstands. So we need to really draw down and then get the head tucked in. Okay, nice and strong on those legs. So just take one more breath here and then release the hands down. So hands are going to just press down. We're going to walk the feet back again, back into Ardha Mukha Svanasana again. So from there, we keep stretching back, nice and wide across from shoulder to shoulder. Make sure that the head is hanging nice and freely. So there's no tension, just checking what's happening across the face. So you maybe just need to kind of, little horse impression, or give the head a little nod or a little shake, just to allow that head to release. Keep drawing back through your belly. Okay, and then again, come forward. So bring it forward, back into Uttanasana. Legs are still going out, so they're along that inside edge of your mat. Okay, so we come down, and again, we're going to grab hold. We're going to change that crossover this time, so you're holding just above the opposite elbow. And again, with the head hanging down. So you're encouraging the body to get lower and lower and lower, and more in, actually, towards the legs. Okay, after your next exhalation, drop the hands down to the floor. You're going to grab hold of your big toe. So first 2 fingers. So if you tuck them in between the big toe and the second toe, so we're grabbing hold. So that's with your peace fingers. Place your thumb on the big toenail. Then work as if we're trying to pull the big toe off the floor, and you're looking forward. So looking forward, pulling that big toe, but the big toe is winning, it's pushing down. And then take your elbows wide as you come down again. Okay, we're going to release the hands, and we're going to place the hands down onto the floor. If you're not quite on the floor, that's okay. You can just be kind of higher up and use your blocks. If you are down, we're coming into Padahastasana. So our hands go underneath on the feet. So they're pressing down, and we're aiming to pull, to lift, and to look forward. So bringing that heart center through and forward. And then releasing back down again. Release the hands down and place the hands down in front, about shoulder width. Take the feet back. So we go back into Ardha Mukha Svanasana again. So our hands press back. So getting the hips up and back even further. Take your feet back a tiny bit more. Now we're going to come forward into Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. So as we do, we're just going to stay onto the toes. So we're going to come forward into a plank. You may need to rock back just a little bit more. So remember, don't do anything too crazy. It's just our first one of these. So we're just going to push back, getting the heels back, legs nice and strong. Arms are lifting, and we're pulling that chest through and up. Looking up towards the ceiling. Roll your shoulders back, nice and strong on the legs. Okay, then head down, pull up and back. So squeeze into your belly, pull all the way back. Just placing your feet back again, hips are up nice and high. Chest is heading back towards the legs, but remember that rib cage housed evenly in the skin. Then right up onto the toes and come down to the knees. So just rest down, taking the head down and the hands just back by the feet. So remember, if your bum doesn't go right down to your heels, you can always kind of pad it out a little bit, or you can place something underneath your head just to bring your head up. It's going to keep your bum down. If you're struggling at all with your knees, then you can place a blanket, or even kind of get a couple of socks or something, so you can kind of place them behind the knees. That's going to give you a little bit of a gap there, so there's not going to be that compression if the knees are squashed right together. Okay, so from being in Balasana again, bring yourselves back up. Now this time you're just going to place the hands, so rather than the hands being that way around, we're just going to turn the hands around. So turn them around, and I'm not asking you to sit right back. So all I'm going to do is just get you to kind of just gently rock forwards and back. So feeling that nice long stretch just underneath the palms and up onto the forearms. Now we can take a little bit bigger stretch, because we can just start to lift the heel of the hand up, so we get a stretch through into the fingers, and you'll feel that as well going up into the arms. And then back down again, turning the hands back over. Okay. Oh, how are we doing? Are we all right? Right. So I'm just going to now stretch those arms forward, head down, and we come up. So tuck the toes up again. I'm going to lift back up again into Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Again, get that set up, pull back. Now we're going to take our right leg. So just give that leg a little bit of a lift, and then bring it through, so squeeze it through. Just take it So we're just coming to ideally behind your right hand, where your right hand was. Now keep strong on that back leg, and all we're going to do is just take a little rock forwards and back. So kind of really charge it up really through that back foot. So you can see I'm not trying to lift my bum up too high. All I'm doing is kind of getting a little roll over the toes. It'll give a stretch out to the leg, but it'll also kind of feel that a little bit more up into the hip flexor. So working right into the top of the leg. Now, if you're really super flexible, you can bring the hands on the inside. You may even find lifting that back leg that you can get your forearms down onto the floor. So by all means, you can go there if you want to. Again, don't compromise your form for ego. So just kind of work it where you feel is right for you. Okay, so just one more breath there. And then we're going to place that foot just back in a little bit. Take it back. So back into Ardha Mukha. Now from here, we can start just to lift up with the left. And we can bring that leg in. It's going to come right where that hand is. And then again, we're just going to supercharge it through that back leg. So we're just going to rock forwards and back on there. So edging forward, edging back, edging forward, edging back. So really start to feel it right at the top of the thigh. And remember, if you're super flexible, you may be able to come down onto your forearms, kind of resting down. Okay, and then we're taking that leg back, and we're back up again into Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Okay, so walk the feet forward. This time feet are a little bit closer together. We're resting forward again in Uttanasana. We're taking hold of those just above the elbows. We're drawing down towards the floor. We're just going to take 2 breaths here. Okay, releasing the hands down. Place the hands just into the crease at the top of the legs. Soften the knees if you need to, but otherwise keep the legs straight and lifting to come all the way up. Now, as soon as you are up, we just roll the shoulders back, bring the hands down by the side. So we're stood in Tadasana. So Tadasana being mountain pose. This would be our main thing, which we set all our postures from, especially all the standing postures. Okay, so grab yourselves a couple of blocks and place them just at the top edge of your mat. We're going to keep our right foot where it is, left leg is going to go back. So the left toes are going to be heading towards that left-hand corner of your mat. Now make sure that the hips are level to begin with. We're going to take the hands on the hips and keep pulling back. And then keep the chest lifted, and then aim to come forward. So we're just, falling over. So we're coming forward into Padmasana. So just getting the legs set up to begin with. So from the legs being here, we're going to take the arms forward, and you're going to stretch as far forward as you can with the arms. So keep the setup of the legs right. Remember, on the leg which is forward, that hip will want to edge forward. So you've got to really keep pushing it in to pull up to get the hip back. So we stretch forward, we stretch forward, we stretch forward. Back leg is massively working. You can really feel that. If you're not feeling it, then you're not doing it enough, because you can really feel it. Okay, so from here, then we can just walk those back in a little bit. Now we're going to soften that front knee, step that leg in, and then taking our right leg back. Okay, so from here, really plant that back foot down, really bump that hip forward, front foot is pushing down, the hip is pulling back. So we aim to stretch the chest forward, and then we can start to walk the blocks forward. Nice big long stretch through the torso. So front, back and side to the body. really stretch as far forward as we can. And then we can start to bring it back in. So from there, we can bend that front leg, and then we can bring that leg in, press down, lift up, roll the shoulders back. And then again, we stood into Tadasana. Okay, grab hold of a belt. Now when you grab hold of your belt, we're just going to start to get our arms working now. So I've got hold of the belt. If you've got a loop, just leave that at one end, it's fine. So take the arms up over the head. I'll go back a bit so I'm still in. Okay, so arms are going up over the head. Now you're going to have to go as wide as you can with the arms to take those arms back behind you. Everyone will have a different range. So when we go back and you bring in the hands down by your sides, and then we should be able to take it back up and over the head. So if you're doing this to get the arms back, like trying to take a jumper off, you need to go a little bit wider. So just taking the belt as wide as you can, as wide as you need to get the arms to roll back, and then bring it forward again. So, and it just strange little things she does this, because it can kind of make you certain muscles in my face start to twitch when I do this. What is a strange thing, isn't it? So we're just starting to get that movement going in the shoulders. That's it. And then bring them down. Now we're going to take the belt, and it's going to be, you're going to have your hands closer together. Take the arms up over the head. Now so we're going to keep our left arm, so as I'm looking at you, so it's left arm, and take the right arm out to the side. Now from there, I'll stand sideways on. Then we're going to take that arm and stretch it back. So one arm is up, one arm is back. Then we bring it back round, lift it back up again, with the other arm out to the side, and then we stretch it back. So keeping the other arm straight up in the air. And back in and up. So one more time on each side. So one arm is straight up, other arm is going back. Back out to the side, up, and take the arm back. And then back over, arms are up, and then bringing the arms down. Okay, nice one. Okay, so we'll leave the belt just at one side. So, Parsvottanasana, the pose which we were just doing, where we had our hands on the blocks. We're going to be doing that, but we'll bring the arms into it as well. So with your arms, if you take your hands out to the sides, and then turn so the palms face down, bringing the arms back, and we're going to turn, so fingertips are touching, and we go up between the shoulder blades. So we're right up between the shoulder blades. Little fingers kind of pushing in towards your spine. Now, if that doesn't happen, grab hold of your wrists or grab hold of your elbows. But we roll the shoulders back. Okay, so same leg movement as we did before. So we're going to have our right foot forward, left leg back. Keeping the hips as level as we can. So we're squeezing those hands together, rolling the shoulders back, legs nice and strong, and then we aim to hinge at the hips and we come forward. So come forward, 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 and down. Okay, just keep the legs as straight as you can. If you're not at your shin, just still keep the legs as straight as you can. Don't worry about it. Okay, and then to come back up again. So we lift all the way back up. Okay, step the legs in. Keep the hands as they are. We'll move back a bit so we can see a little bit more. And then we're taking the right leg back. So left leg is forward. So it's still aiming to be at the top edge of your mat. Squeezing the hands together. That lift, and then again we come forward. So forward, 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 forward. Keep the hands pushing together, get the elbows to wing back a little bit. And then inhale, lift the head, come all the way back up again. Okay, and then step the legs in. So once we're there with it, then just let the hands come down and stretch the hands down to the floor. So we're back again into Tadasana. So the reason I was saying forward, forward, forward is because I don't want you to think of you coming down, coming down, coming down. Keep the stretch going as far forward as you can to get more of an extension in the spine. And then you've got more chance of getting a little bit lower down. Okay, right. So we're going to just bring in Virabhadrasana 2 and Parsvakonasana. So if you do have your blocks handy, so if you have 4 blocks, you can already set them up to either side. If not, you'll have to move them halfway through. So we're going to take the legs out, good wide stride. So from a nice wide stride with the feet parallel, taking the arms out to the sides. Now from here, we're going to turn in with your left foot. You're going to turn out with your right leg. Make sure the heel is in line with the instep of the back foot. So arms stretching out. And then exhale as we bend the knee. So you can just kind of see how far you need to go. Ideally, you want a right angle between the thigh and the calf muscle. So arms reaching out to the sides. Again, create that space inside the body. Turn, just looking beyond that middle finger. Anchor it down through that back foot. Keep the lifting up and zipping up through the front of the body. And then come all the way back up again. Turn the foot. And then on to the other side. So turning in with one leg, turning out with the other. And then start to bend the knee. Now remember, when we're getting into this position, so the leg that's left behind, that hip needs to pull back. Feel as if the belly is pulling round to that side. So it's staying looking towards me. So the knee is bent, we're looking out beyond that middle finger. Okay, and then inhale, come all the way back up. So turn the feet back in, just refresh the arms and have the hands down onto the hips. So we'll take it now into Parsvakonasana. So this is where your blocks will come in handy if you do need them. So from pressing down, keep the lift, taking the arms out to the side. Turn in, turn out. Keep that lift and then exhale as you bend your knee. From here, we're going to extend over towards the door. So we inhale, we exhale. Imagine your back is against the wall. Place the hand down onto your blocks. Push the leg back against the blocks. Take your arm, just point it straight up towards the ceiling. Anchor that back foot down. So turn, so you've got the front of the leg looking up towards the ceiling. Turn, so you've got your belly and your chest looking up towards the ceiling. And then turn that top hand, bring it over the head. Nice long line of energy from the back foot through to the fingertips. Okay, don't overdo it with your stretch. Just make sure that there still is a little bit of movement in the body. Okay, and then coming back up to Virabhadrasana 2. We start to straighten out with the leg and we're turning back in. Just refresh the arms. And then we're on to the other side. So we turn in, we turn out. So again, keeping it so it's pulling round. Anchor it down into your back foot. Start to bend the leg. So left leg bending. Oops. Okay, so we're there with it. Now we inhale, we lift, we exhale, we lengthen over. We bring the hand down onto the block. We're pushing the knee back against the arm. This top hand is reaching up towards the ceiling. We're turning a little bit more up towards the ceiling. Anchoring down with that back foot. Then turn the palm. Bring it up and over the head. Nice long line of energy from the back foot. Feel it right up the front, back and sides of the body as you stretch right through to the fingertips. That hand down onto the block should be lightly onto there and almost kind of like lifting up away from it. So if you did, you could probably just lift and wave your arm. No pressure right onto that block. And then we come back up. So back to Virabhadrasana 2 first, then coming all the way up. Turn the feet back in and we're going to jump the feet back together. Okay, so we're straight back into Tadasana. So rolling the shoulders back, stand nice and tall. So the chin is parallel to the floor. Okay. So let's just work a little twist. So we're just going to come down to do a twist. So if we just bring one block, the legs straight out in front, okay, pressing down. And then from there, just soften the legs. Just bring them into the nice, easy cross-legged. Placing the hands onto the legs. Now we're going to twist, first of all, to the right-hand side. So we're going to bring that right hand back behind us, and we're going to take the left hand across. Press it down into the leg, so lift it tall. Now making sure you feel as if everything is turning and moving around. So we turn and we look back behind us. So my hands are just pushing down into the floor to turn and look back. And then inhale, lift, and exhale as we turn and we come back round. So we're going over to the other side. So one hand going back behind, other hand is going across. Press it down into the leg, press it down behind. So when it presses, everything here starts to move round. So we're pulling it round to the back, we're turning, we're looking back. So remember, my hand is just pushing, both hands are just pushing down into the floor to keep the body as tall as I can to enable me to turn safely. Okay, and then we'll bring it back round. Straighten the legs out. Okay, so I'm just going to bring you now just down to lying down. So if you grab yourselves a belt, just in case you need it. Some of you may not need your belt, but if you do, you can just have it as kind of like one long loop, so you don't need to worry about a little loop on the end of it. Now we're going to have our legs just in a crooked knee position. So just like this. Now if we start to just bring in our right leg, so we're going to hold on to that leg and we're going to squeeze it down. So drawing it in towards the body. Now this is where you may need your belt, because the belt is going to go round onto the foot. So if you don't need it, you don't have to have it there, but it would go round onto the foot. And then from there, we're going to start to stretch that leg up and start to pull it in. So if you do need your belt, grab it now, okay? Otherwise, holding onto the leg, just keep it in there. Get the shoulders just to soften down. And then take hold underneath the foot, so you can bring the head up if you want to. Once we have hold, then we're pushing away through the heel. We're taking that leg right up. Now from here, we use the stomach muscles, and we come up as if to try and meet that leg. So we're drawing that leg in. Keep working the toes to pull down. Keep working the heel so it is pushing away, and we're keeping the leg straight as we can. And then it bends back in. Squeeze it in, and then placing that foot down. Okay, and then we're over onto the other side. So we get hold of the leg, we squeeze it in. Now from there, we're going to take hold underneath the foot. So if the head needs to lift to be able to get there, then that's fine. Then from there, we start to push away. So we're stretching out with that leg. So use your belt if you need to. And once we're there with it and we've straightened out with the leg, then we can lift the head. So as if you're trying to pull the forehead in towards the shin. Okay, release back down, and then we draw the leg in, squeeze it in, and placing that leg down. Now stretch away with the legs. So we're going to add in a few little core muscles here. So the posture is Erdhva Pasarita Padasana. So, and kind of like, you can think of it as 90, 60, 30. You remember it like that. So hands are either going to go straight over the head and stretching back. If you know that your back is a little bit iffy, if you just feel a little bit protective over it, then take the hands and kind of slide them in underneath your bum with the palms facing down. So remember, you can change your mind at any moment if you want to kind of change the position of the hands. So arms are stretching back. Now I'm going to bring the legs, slide them up. So we're just again in that crook knee position. Now aim to flatten out your back as much as you can towards the mat. So we're kind of always keeping it there. It's going to remind you to really keep drawing back on your belly. Now from there, so we're drawing back, we're just going to pull the legs up. Now from there, stretch the legs up towards the ceiling. So legs are stretching up way, because if the legs are one unit, squeeze the legs together. Really kind of feel like the thighs are pulling right in towards each other. Now I'm going to draw the legs in and take them out to 60 degrees. Now when they go out to 60 again, remember that your back is down onto the floor. Squeeze the legs in, take them out to 30 degrees. Okay, keep the back down onto the floor. Squeeze the legs in, go back up to 60 degrees. So we're just stretching those legs. Keep the belly drawn back, keep it drawn back, keep it drawn back, and then squeeze the legs back in. Up to 90. That feels a bit easier, doesn't it, up at 90? So we're going to go again. So we draw the legs in and then take them out 60 degrees. Squeeze the legs in. Take them out 30 degrees. Squeeze the legs in 60 degrees. Squeeze the legs in. Take them up 90 degrees. Now hold in there. We're going to start to scissor the legs now. So we're going to bring the right leg first of all, bring it down to about 30 degrees. Then what we're going to do is change the crossover, so they should kind of cross at the 60 degrees. So they kind of pull in 60 degrees, one is up, one is down. Okay, so we're going to work it slowly as that. So we bring it in, we cross over, I'm taking one leg up and one leg stretching out. And then again, so bring it in, change that crossover, just watching the back, make sure that it's firmly pulling back. So we're squeezing back in the belly. And then again. And then again. And two more. There's one. And there we go. Then pull that leg up and bring the legs in, place the feet down onto the floor, bringing the arms down by your sides. Okay, so from there, draw the legs in towards the body, squeezing in, pull in as much as you can. So nice and tight in the belly. Okay, and placing the feet back down. So we're going to just now bring ourselves up and back into Ardha Mukha Svanasana. From there, you can get your set up and you can go into Shashasana, into your headstand. So let's go through this together. So Ardha Mukha Svanasana to begin with. So from stretching back and then stretching forward, we come up. So we're here. Keep squeezing back on the belly. Keep rolling the shoulders out. So we get our setup of drawing back. So pulling the chest right back up towards the hips. Hips being up to the highest point. Feel a nice long stretch right through the whole of the body. Keep squeezing your belly back. Okay, and then come up to the toes and then down to the knees. Just take a breather there before we get our setup for our headstand. Now, if you're not wanting to go, up into your headstand, do the same pose again, but you can also do that just on your forearms. So you can just still have your setup. So you've got your shoulder width distance. So you grab hold, make sure it's a good firm hold, and then placing your hands down. Interlock the fingers, both little fingers down on the floor, base of that index finger pushing in, and the thumb on top of the other one. So you can work there, you can have the head down, and then you can work to lift up with the legs. Okay, so you can just be there, and you can hang out in that position if you want to. If you wanted to go up into your full headstand, then I'm going to face this way because we've got some variations as well to do. So we're going to take ourselves up. So the ones who know how to go up, you may take yourself straight up there. Now, if you're unsure kind of the setup of it, then you can always kind of watch the video that was just before this one, and it'll give you the prep to be able to come back up, to be able to go up into the pose. So from the legs being nice and straight, you can take a few breaths here. Keep working as if the legs are one unit. And then we'll work into Ekapada Shishasana. So we're going to bring one leg. And so remember, the strength is what you've left behind. So really stretch that other leg up. So we're just going to bring that other leg down just about halfway. So you can just maybe see your toes pointing down towards the floor, or pointing back towards your head, maybe. Okay, a couple of breaths there, and then back up. When you get yourselves level, again, strength is what you've left behind. So nice and slow and controlled, bringing that other leg down. And then take the leg up. So both legs stretching up together and then folding back in, so you're working it more through your core. So squeeze in, squeeze in, squeeze in, squeeze in, placing the feet down. Okay, so once we are down, we're going to go straight back again just into Ardha Mukha Svanasana to get that head to hang down. So nice and strong with the arms, stretch back, stretch back, stretch back. And then come down onto the knees. So just resting back. Now, if you, again, take the hands, we've done this a few times before, so when you go up into Shishasana, it's good just to kind of get out any like little niggles or anything or in the neck. It's a good strengthener for the neck. So interlock the fingers, take the hands behind the back of the head. So then you can just push the head back into the hands, pushing it back. And I'm underneath that occipital bone at the moment, so the bit that sticks out. And so I'm under there and I'm pushing my head back in. Then just let your hands slide up your head a little bit so it dips your chin in. And then you can let your hands just slide up and away, and then we do again. So push the head back into the hands. And then let the hands slide up, just bringing the chin in slightly. And then away. And then one more time. So then again, just press, dip the chin, the hands just slide up, and away. Okay, so we did Shishasana, and we did Ekapada Shishasana, so that's just bringing one leg down, and it was one leg forward coming down, as opposed to kind of Parsva would have been at the side. Okay. So how are we feeling? Are we okay? Are we good? So we're just going to put in some back bends now. So with your back bends, we're going to be doing Ustrasana. So grab your 2 blocks to begin with, and you can place them just kind of where the feet are. Now with your feet, you can have your toes tucked under to begin with and have your blocks on a higher level. So we're going to be doing this a couple of times just to get us nicely warmed up. So we've taken the spine through different ranges of movement already. So we've really extended it with the standing postures, and we've done a twist. So we've taken it really through quite a full range of movements, which makes it a lot safer then for doing your back bends. So you need to be taking it through flexion, extension, through rotation. So all of those will enable a good, sensible and healthy back bend. Right, so hands are, blocks are down. I'm on my toes. I'm working onto my thighs and I am pulling up. Now we did some stomach and core exercises, which also help us to be zipped up here. So we need to really stay zipped up and in. Hands are just going to go just to my thumbs into the sacrum. I'm going to press in, lifting the chest, and then start to tip back in the top part of the chest. I'm edging my hips as far forward as I can, and I'm just starting just to take the top part of my back to come back. I'm going to place my hands straight onto the blocks. I'm going to press down, and as I press down into the floor, I can lift my chest up even more, and then I can take my head back. Now, when I do come back up, I press down. I feel as if I'm being hoisted up to the front of my chest to come back to upright. I can just I'll move that out of the way, and let my feet go back down, and then I can sit back down and take a breather, okay? It can be quite overwhelming when you open up the chest. So you can feel like that energy rushes forward. So just kind of take it to where you feel good with it. Remember, you don't want to be twisting and grappling around when you're into that, so it can compromise your back. So keep your form right. Don't worry about if you haven't been able to touch onto your blocks or wherever. Just keep it where is right for you. We're going to be doing a game. So anyone that does want to either have the blocks kind of on the lower level, or if you're not wanting the blocks there at all, you can have, if you know you're good and bendy in your back, you can have your feet flat. I prefer kind of having my toes tucked under a little bit. So from sitting back onto them, again, we're going to come up. So you really work it, pull up into the thighs. This time we're just going to sit the bottom back a bit. So thumbs are going to press in. I'm going to open up in my chest. I'm going to start my back bend already. Then I'm going to edge my hips forward. So edging forward, reach my hands back, holding onto my heels. Now I'm going to press down, open up the chest a little bit more, and then let the head go back. I'm going to keep edging my hips forward the whole time, squeezing my bottom cheeks, and then I can just get a little bit more length in the chest. Okay, to come out of it, hands onto the sacrum, and be hoisted up to come back up again, and then again, just sit back, bottom back to your heels. Okay, how are we doing? So if anyone feels good to go, we're going to do one more of those, except we're going to use the wall for it this time. So if I use, I'm just thinking, if I use the door instead, then you'll maybe be able to see better. So rather than on here. So grab whatever little bit of padding to take you up nearer the wall. Now the idea is to be able to kind of measure out with your hips. So your hips stay a little bit nearer to the wall. So you can see me there, can't you? Right, so I'm sat down. Right, now when I come up, I need to really pull up on my legs. So I pull right up, I'm tucking my toes under. Okay, and my hips are staying pushing into the door. My thumbs are pushing into my sacrum. So they push in And I can start just to edge back, edge back, edge back, edge back, squeezing my bum cheeks in. I can even take a fist into my bum cheeks and then reach my hands down. So keep your hips forward and then let the head go back. And then we can come back up again. And you need to maybe move away a little bit from the wall in order to be able just to sit back. Okay, so using the wall is a great way to be able to measure so you know that your hips are forward enough to take you into that back bend. Okay, so I'm going to come back over onto here. Now, you need to be able to get yourself either, I'm going to move myself to here, so I think you'll be able to see me a bit better on this one. Apologies for me moving around all over the place on this. The room's not big enough to set the camera up in one position where it can get everything in one go. So, hence me moving around all over. Right, I'm going to place my blocks at the wall there. So I'm on the skating board. So I've got 2 blocks placed at a little bit of an angle. So the ones who are in my class, you'll know where we're going with this. And you'll know that if you don't need to have the blocks there, and if you don't need to use the wall, then that's fine. You can lift yourself up when we come to doing this. We're going to be using the belt as well. So that's going to be going around your hands. We're going to be lifting up into Urdhva Dhanurasana. So a lot of you will know that as a crab pose. So, and we have different degrees of how far up we want to go with this. So to begin, so I've got my belt ready and I've got that kind of roughly about shoulder width apart. It kind of varies from person to person. Okay, so that's going to just be at one side. Now, before we actually just go up to doing Urdhva Dhanurasana, then I'm going to be lifting up into Setu Bandha. Setu Bandha is a stage where you can either, if you feel comfortable with just staying here, then just stay with that. There's no requirement, there's no gold stars given if you do get up, okay? Some people, it's just not for them. So, Philippa, if you're watching, I know her back doesn't bend that way, so she's she's not going to be happy with this one thrown into the mix tonight. Okay, so for those that are just doing Setu Bandha, hands are just going to be down by your sides and your legs are going to be bent. You can just take your feet out slightly wider than your hips. More flexible people can keep their feet closer together. Okay, different body types. For me, it's better with my legs a lot wider. Okay, so when we lift up into Urdhva Dhanurasana, that is. Now, otherwise, you can keep your legs fairly parallel. Again, if the knees are a bit of an issue, turn the toes out and turn the knees out slightly. Now, at the moment in Setu Bandha, we just work to get that lift. We push, we lift up, we get the hips lifted up nice and high. Hands can come underneath, we lift one side, we lift the other. So we're up nice and high with the chin tucked in. So we have this as an option. You can just maybe stay here if this is what you prefer, okay? So we're lifting the hips and we're also getting kind of that back bend going on in this position. And if you think about it, if you were to turn me round kind of the other way, then it's a little bit like Ustrasana, the pose that we have just done. So it's a little bit like that. So the same kind of arch in the back. Now, so we're just going to work now into Urdhva Dhanurasana. So on this one, I'm going to show you the positioning for your belt. So ideally, kind of get your belt about there. Works for me if it's about there. So when I take my arms back, and my elbows have to be slightly wider than my shoulders. Okay. So I'm going back. My head is in between the blocks. My belt is there. I'm going to place that onto my arms. You've got to be careful with the buckle bit that you don't whack yourself in the head. Okay, so it's going to help keep my elbows in place. Now, arms are going to go back onto the blocks. My legs, if you notice, I've started to take my feet a little bit wider. So we're going to start, first of all, we lift up into what we feel is like that Setu Bandha position. So we come up and we can hold that. Now, even if we're just here and then we come back down again, that's fine. So we can come back down and we can start to just practice to get a little bit more weight, just going on to the hands as we come up. Okay, if you feel ready to go, you can either come up straight onto the head, or you can lift and then lift up, or you can go straight up, entirely up to you. Okay, so we press down, take a big deep breath in. As you breathe out, we push, we lift, and we're up. And then we come back down again by the head, and then all the way back down again. Okay, so you can work. I'm just going to give you enough time now, just where if you need to, well, you are going to go up again. So if you can work a couple more times, just kind of getting into it and just lifting up, see how that feels. Now, when you do it, you want to really focus on the chest heading, so right on this part here, heading as if it's heading towards the wall. So it throws the weight over a little bit more towards the hands, opens more in the chest, so it'll stretch you away from the lumbar spine. It'll take you more as if your head and your chest are heading towards the wall. So that's going to be a much better approach than kind of keeping the weight back over the legs. So really work it going that way. So again, that's where you're going to stretch out of your back. Okay, so if you've done a couple, then just get up one more if you can, see how it feels. And if you're lifting up, lift up, take a big deep breath in first, and then breathe out. So it's a release and a let go to lift up. So watching to make sure that the knees aren't aching or anything. If that's the case, then you can either just turn the feet out slightly. If you, as I say, if you are able, keep the legs in line, and you can start to bring them in closer together. Okay. So good. You'll have to let me know your feedback on that and see if you were able to get up. Okay. So we're going to just start to bring it down a little bit now. So what I'm going to get you to do is just to lie down on your mat. I'm going to pull my mat back in so you'll be able to see me just a little bit more clearly on here now. So I'm just going to move my mat back in. You're going to lie down on your backs and you're going to draw your knees in towards your chest. So you're squeezing your legs in. Okay, so squeezing in, taking the hands round, pull right in towards the chest. You can lift the head up. And again, place the feet down. Have a little wriggle out. And again, bring the legs in. Take hold, squeeze in. Bring the head up. And then release back down. And release the legs. Okay, take a couple of breaths. Okay. So placing the hands underneath the bum, just bring yourselves up to sitting. So we're going to be taking ourselves up into Savangasana, so up into your shoulder stand. Now, if you want to roll your mat up into 3, so it gives you an extra bit of padding just underneath the shoulders. So if you do have a blanket or something as well, then you can wrap your blanket just inside your mat. And then taking that over. So it'll just give you that extra bit of padding there. Okay. And it just starts to bring the shoulders up then, just to take the pressure off the neck. So when we're ready, we're going to lay ourselves down, have your shoulders and your back onto there, head is on the floor. Again, we're going to be working same variation as what we did when we did Shasana, when we did our headstand. So that same variation in Savangasana. So again, we just need to make sure that we're all nicely tucked in, so nothing's going to fall out. Right. So from legs being straight, then we can take the legs going straight up into the air. So we use the stomach muscles as we take the legs up. So hands going straight onto the back. Stretch up, legs as if they're one unit, squeezing in, squeezing in, squeezing in. So we take a couple of breaths here. Keep pushing away right through the heels. Keep the toes drawing back. So work as if you're still trying to pull up on those kneecaps and working the quadricep muscles if they're pulling right up towards the hips. Now, just to get a little bit more of a stretch, with a hinge at the hips, flex the feet, bring the legs over into Halasana. Hands interlock the fingers, straighten the arms out. Place the hands back onto the back, and then again take the legs up. Okay, one leg, so right leg. Flex the foot. Now you've got to keep an eye on the hips to make sure the hips stay level and they're not dropping. Bring that leg just to about halfway down. If you're really flexible, you may be able to get the leg down to the floor, but again, just question your form. And is it ego that's bringing that leg all the way down? And then we take the leg all the way back up. Flex through the foot. Strength is what you've left behind, remember? Bringing that leg down. Okay, and then leg back up. And again, back over into Halasana. Now, those that can go into Kanapidasana, so that would be separating the legs a little bit, bending the knees, so you would have this part, the shin, along the floor if you can, and with the knees by the ears. Now, this just doesn't happen for me, but if you feel that you can go for it, just bend in the legs, so you would be bringing them with the tops of the feet down onto the floor. If you can get that, you can bring your arms up and wrap your hands over the backs of the knees. Okay, and then straightening out with the legs. Place the hands down. Slowly start to roll. And coming all the way down. Okay, now once you're down, we're going to take this up into Matsyasana, into fish pose. So there's always a ponytail in the wrong position for this pose. So because you need to be able to get kind of right on the crown of your head. So, okay, so arms are down by your sides, in nice and tucked in. Elbows can push down. So we're going to keep the bottom down onto the floor and legs go out straight. So push down, dome the chest, and taking the crown of the head back to the floor. We keep the chest nicely open. You've already opened that up really well with Urdhva and Ustrasana. So keeping that lift, if you feel you're okay there, then you can bring the arms out. If you're stronger in your back, you can lift the legs. And then placing the arms down, place the legs down, use the elbows, press down, bring yourself and lying flat. Just take the legs out a little bit wider. Just give yourself just a couple of breaths. So while you're taking a few breaths, just notice how you feel. So after the poses which we've just done, that rejuvenating pose, and often can be quite calming as well in Savangasana and your shoulder stand. And very calming when we go into Halasana. And Matsyasana, just kind of like counter pose for the neck, but can make you feel a bit woo. Again, just bringing that energy forward, renewed energy. Okay, bring the hands underneath your bum, pressing down, bring yourselves back up to sitting. We're just going to uncurl on the mat, just rolling everything out. Okay, so you need your belt again, so we're just going to finish with Upavista Konasana. So with this pose, you need to have your blanket, and if we fold it, just so you've got like a little pointy bit there to sit on. So it's going to help just to keep you propped up, and it'll help to tip the pelvis forward slightly in order to come forward. So you want to make sure that your legs are out straight, go as wide as you feel that you're able to go. This is about it for me. I don't want to go any wider than this. So, yep, here we go. Right then, so hands are going back behind. We're going to press down, lift and open up with the chest. So it seems a shame to kind of depress the chest now after you've spent all that time and that effort opening it up with the poses we've been doing. So we press down, we open up, we keep the legs as straight as we can, we're pushing away. Push away that much that you can even lift the heels up off the floor. And then placing them down. Make sure the front of the leg is looking up towards the ceiling. We're going to bring the hands forward now, and we're going to just start to walk your hands forward. Now, if you're on that point, it'll help just to tip you forward slightly. And so when it tips forward, it'll mean that you're kind of moving safely into the pose. So just be careful with these muscles here. So with the adductor muscles and with your hamstrings, you don't want them screaming at you. So just make sure that you keep them nice and happy. Now we can take the hands out to the side if you can reach onto your big toes. So first two fingers wrap around on the big toe. If you're unable to reach, take your belt across. And then you can hang onto your belt, okay? That's not a very good example, was it? Let's just get rid of that. So if you were a little bit more upright, then you can be there with it, okay? So, but if you are able, then you can hang onto your big toes. So we keep hold, we lift up nice and tall, and then again, we start to come forward to where we feel is okay for us to go. We're just going to take 3 breaths here. And then come back up. We're going to turn, looking over to the right leg. So we, again, feel as if everything is turning and pulling around to look in front of that leg. So it also takes us into a little bit of a twist, pulling it round. So moving away from the other leg. So pressing the hands down and then aim to come forward a little bit. See if we can get, so it's opposite arm to leg. See if we can take it to the outside of that foot. If that's the case, the hand that's there, press it down so we lift up and we can start to turn the body a little bit more as if looking back over the shoulder. And then we can also start to bring it down a little bit if we feel that that's okay. Okay, and then come back up. So once we come up, reach the hands back behind, press down. And then we're coming round to the other side. So press the hands down. Again, think of the belly turning and the chest turning. We start to come forward, making sure that this leg isn't following us, it's staying where it should be. And then we bring the hands forward, we can take it to the outside of that foot, we can press the hand down and we can push down and help us to ease round that little bit more. So remember, if you're unable to hold, use your belt. Work even just onto the first stage of it, trying to get round. And then we come back up, all the way back up again, placing the hands down as we press down and lift up. Okay, and then bring the legs back in. And we're just going to finish with just a seated twist. So if you make your block again, or your blanket, just so it's more level rather than the point, just have the legs crossed, hands pressing down. Okay, and then taking your right hand back behind, left hand goes across onto the leg, press down, and then turning and looking back. Inhale, lift. Exhale as you come back round. Round for the other side. So one hand going back behind, other hand pushing down. Press it down. And exhale as you turn. So seated twist, just great for getting rid of any dross out of the body, releasing any muscular tension, and then coming back round. Okay, so just rolling the shoulders, and then Shavasana. So just bring yourself to lying down. So we're going to be here for a few minutes. If you do want to be here for longer, then you can just like pause the video for a little while if you want to. Or you can just hear my words and leave it running. Okay, so just get yourself comfortable just lying down. Feels nice sometimes, just with a little bit of weight on top of the body. Just helps the body settle, and even something to cover your eyes. And then when you are settled, again, just kind of get a little wriggle out, eyes closed. Now the attention again just to come back to the breathing. And just feel with each breath, each exhalation, just the body feeling as if it's melting down a little bit more just towards the ground. And then we can start just to pick up on any obvious areas of tension. And then notice as we're allowing our attention just to move around the body, you may find we're picking up on some of the areas of tension that weren't so obvious. And with each exhalation, just allowing the body just to settle, just to rest, to recover, to relax. Soft, smooth breath. We can just maybe pick up on inhalations and just allowing the body then just to, all the goodness to come inside the body as you're breathing in. And as you breathe out, just release and let go of anything that no longer serves you. So either just remaining where you are, or if you wanted to come up just to end the practice, just over the next few breaths, just bringing yourselves up, coming back up to sitting, and just bringing the palms together. So just bringing thoughts back now of your intention, which you set at the beginning. And taking the hands up over the crown. Slowly start to draw the hands down past the Ajna chakra, our intuitive center, the Vishuddha. And speak our truth and listen well. Anahata, heart center, center for love and compassion. Manipura, which gives us our will and our drive. Svadhisthana, new beginnings, being able to change when we need to. And the Muladhara for our strength and our stability. And just bringing the hands back to the Anahata chakra. This is our center for love and compassion. So now just bring into mind someone you feel could do with a little bit of help right now. And then dedicate the energy of your practice to them. And just blinking the eyes open. Namaste. Thank you for joining me this evening. Well done on that work if you managed to get it all done. If you like what I did, then hit the subscribe button at the side. Also, if you press the bell as well, it'll inform you of new videos and things which have coming out. And share the video as much as you like, and to anybody who you feel would benefit from it. Okay, and I'll see you again. Okay, stay safe, stay well.